Okay, g'day everyone. Just want to talk a little bit about the US Open that was just held the other day, and I really enjoyed watching the tournament, and mainly because I really like, been a big fan of Bryson DeChambeau for a long time, but I like players that play the game a little bit differently, because I think there's many ways to play the game, and there's some wonderful golfers out there, there's some beautiful swings, textbook swings, but I like seeing players that do things a little bit differently and having success. One of those players, Jim Furyk's had a long career, and we all know how he swings the club. Definitely not textbook, and people think he's not a great, maybe shouldn't be a great player. But I remember going to watch him at Royal Melbourne years ago, and my coach at the time said, "Oh, you don't really want to watch that sort of swing." But what I really did watch was his ball control, his ball flight, and he's very, whilst he's different coming into the ball, he's got a great movement, and he's been on the PGA Tour for over 20 years, had a wonderful career, won a lot of money. He's just gone on to the Champions Tour now and won his first two events. So even though he's got a different swing, he believed in it and kept doing it, and he's done really, really well. So, in 2015, first heard of Bryson DeChambeau. He won the NCAA Championship, which is the collegiate tournament national championship in the US, where all the college players play. And they were talking about this young kid with one-length clubs and single plane swing, and thought that looks pretty interesting. And then that same year, he won the US Amateur Championship, one of only 5 players to do it, including Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Phil Mickelson. So I think there's obviously something in this method. So we started to watch him a lot more, and he's since won. This is now his 7th win on the PGA Tour, including a major now. And still, a lot of people don't believe in what he's doing, but I think it's great for the game to do things differently. And from what we could learn from Bryson in terms of his game, what I really do like about what he does with his iron game, he has that very structured setup. His hands are very high, has the left arm nice and straight, and the left wrist flat, and his right wrist bent. But he likes to get it set up in a position very close to, or basically where he wants to be at impact. So he really tries to set up at impact, swing it back, return to impact, which I think is a good way to play. From the other angle, you'll see has the left arm very straight. He actually, one of the reasons he uses these big grips is he has the club in the palm of his hand, and that gets allows him to get his arm a bit higher, and then he has the right arm in line with the forearm. But again, the hand's very, very high, so I'm going to start in that impact position, swing it back, return to that impact position. So I think it's a brilliant way to play, and you'll notice on the backswing as well, one of the things he does, he doesn't have a lot of wrist action, particularly going back. He will have a little bit of right arm bend and right wrist hinge at the top, but very structured in the arms. Keeps his body very centered as well. He likes to basically set up with a bit of weight on his left side and stays in that position. So it's a good way to play. Now with the one-length clubs, it's an interesting thing. It's not something that everybody... I've been messing around with this for a little while myself, on and off, mainly because it's hard sometimes to stick with something that is a bit different. But you notice here we've got a 4-iron, 7-iron, and a pitching wedge, all the same length. But that's actually quite hard to do. Now the reason he did that, he decided that, okay, if I'm going to swing on the same plane, if I'm going to set up in this position and swing on the same plane all the way back and through, it's going to be hard to do with different clubs because every swing's going to vary a little bit in feel, and he wanted to make things consistently. His idea was, if I build a machine to hit a golf ball, what am I going to do? Am I going to have moving parts, or am I going to keep it fairly simple? So that's what he decided to do. But when you get a set of golf clubs, all the clubs vary in weight. The sand wedge will be your heaviest club. Every club gets about 7 grams heavier as you get up into the longer iron. So, and obviously the shafts get longer as well. Part of that is to get the distance dispersion, but if we can get the distances gaps right, which Bryson's been able to do, then it's quite an effective way to play. One of the things that, again, with Bryson's swing that is really, really good, when you set up with your structured left arm and you set up with your head fairly steady, you maintain there, your swing radius is very constant and it allows you to hit the ground in the same place every time. So if you're struggling with consistency, it may be something to think about. Some of the players I've noticed have gone to just one length, not the tour players, but some of the club players have gone to one length in their 4 and 5 iron, because they find they can't hit the long iron so well, and that's helped them a lot. But one thing we can learn from Bryson's swing that I think is get yourself set up how you want to be at impact, and practice making little swings back and through, trying to return the club, keeping the hands and arms nice and wide through impact, keeping the structure on the way through. It's not a bad way to play. So if you're struggling with consistency, it might help your game. Now obviously at the moment he's hitting the ball a long way, and that's something that he has changed. Or he has improved in his game. He decided to be a world-class #1 player in the world. I've got to hit the ball further. So he's really gone into, put on a lot of weight, a lot of muscle, working out really hard, and he's swinging his driver really, really fast. but he does have a lot of control. Still has a lot of control for how fast he's swinging it. And I think as he built his original game on accuracy. Now he's adding some distance to that. So in the US Open, it was interesting that he only hit. They said he only hit 50% of the fairways, but that's actually better than the tournament average. But the one thing is that even when he missed it in the right places. He wasn't blazing away into the bushes all the time or onto other fairways. He's missing it by a few metres here and there into the rough. His theory was the further I hit it though, the shorter club I'm going to have into the green. So if I do miss a fairway, I can potentially get that shot onto the green. And he played beautiful golf, and congratulations to him. But the interesting thing with his driver, even though he's swinging it at high speed, he sets up a little bit more behind the ball because he wants to hit up on the ball a little bit. But other than that, his motion's very similar. He perhaps has a huge wind up, uses his legs quite a lot coming down, but even coming into impact, his left foot is still fairly stable. His right foot is coming off the ground a little bit, but he's still fairly stable in his left foot at impact. Comes in that beautiful left arm straight position, driving with the right arm through the ball. Then as he does go through impact, you'll notice his left foot will start to move around, which will give him a little bit of freedom coming through. So definitely very interesting to watch him play. And as I said, the most important thing with golf is to trust what you do, believe in what you do. It's great watching the different players. I think it's fascinating for the game, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Whether there'll be any changes on the tour with the distance the ball travels, but it's interesting to watch. So I hope you enjoyed talking about it, and I look forward to seeing you out there very soon.